Police reports obtained by News 13 show numerous police runs for overdoses and suicide attempts at the East Asheville Ramada Inn. Now, the motel has operated as both a city homeless shelter and a hotel, but it's not clear that every call is regarding a shelter resident. News 13's Kimberly King is getting reaction tonight from all sides.
These numerous pages of police reports show suspected methamphetamine, heroin, and fentanyl drug use. The shelter has been operating and contracted with the city since April. Police reports obtained through a public records request confirm runs for multiple overdose calls that resulted in 2 deaths and also 2 suicide attempts since the city homeless shelter opened in April.
There's no leadership.
Kim Gudger and her mom, Ann, reviewed the reports obtained by News 13. They live nearby.
Well, it's pretty evident. You've got people with overdosing in this hotel and nobody to actually help them.
The reports detail accounts of use of meth, possibly laced with fentanyl, and suspected heroin use. One person reports a resident going into cardiac arrest. In one case, police report they found a plastic pipe, tinfoil, and metal pick. Residents continue to feel city leaders aren't paying close enough attention to operations.
Makes us feel like we have no voice in our local government for this to happen.
The shelter's been run by nonprofit Sunrise Community for Recovery for the city. Managers declined a request to interview, but the director issued a statement saying in part, "You don't see news articles and spotlights on anyone else who have also lost their lives to accidental fentanyl overdoses, which is happening to all demographics of humans everywhere. We provide around-the-clock peer support, full wraparound services to everyone." Residents who live nearby have told News 13 they now have a meeting in 2 weeks with city leaders. Kim Gudger concerned for the people living at the Ramada as well.
You know, because there's a lot of people that are laying on the ground.
You can see them doing drugs in the middle of the on the side of the road.
A spokeswoman for the city says that they will get back to News 13 next week when they've had a chance to get with management at Sunrise that is running the shelter.
Many are making resolutions tonight, but few will be bigger than the town of Canton. As News 13's Rex Hodge reports, it's resolved to rebuild after last summer's flooding.
The flood disrupted the lives of so many people in and around Canton. Even the Pisgah Memorial football field remains damaged to this day. But the mayor said in the new year he expects full recovery and victory.
Zeb Smathers is the first to say it's been a tough 2021.
There are people in Haywood County, and throughout Western North Carolina, whether it's because of natural causes, COVID, there's a lot of people that had that empty chair at Christmas this year.
Rain from Tropical Storm Fred swamped Canton, Crusoe, Bethel, and Lake Logan in August.
Many businesses and homes have recovered, and for many, have not.
We did have just outpouring of community support.
Hard-hit Bearwaters Brewing in Canton was one of the first businesses to reopen.
Looking forward, all we can do is hope and pray for, no pandemics and no natural disasters.
Some town buildings in Canton are still in limbo.
We still do not have a town hall, police department, fire department, a permanent place to call home.
Federal, state, and local assistance has come in, but Smathers says he'll continue fighting with trips to Raleigh and Washington for more help.
We will lobby, we will discuss, and make sure that our people in our county and our town have every bit of resources and money they need to rebuild how they choose.
The biggest motivation, Smathers says, is local.
But when I look at the families that have lost everything, their homes, family members, and the ability for them to rebuild and continue, that gives us inspiration.
In the wake of tragedy, political leadership, he says, is taking a unified approach.
Once you see it, you know it exists.
His resolution for the new year is everyone working together for Canton's repair, something to celebrate in time for the 100th anniversary of the county clash, Canton versus Waynesville game in October.
I could not think of a better event to bring everybody together to say that we're back.
Smathers says with the grit and grace Canton is known for, his town will survive and thrive again.
That belief in each other and, what we can do together, that's going to get us into next year. And I truly, truly believe that 22 is going to be a great year for Haywood County.
At Bearwaters, they're raising a glass.
Cheers to the new year.
Smathers says he expects the stadium to be filled with enthusiasm and the energy of renewal when the county clash game is played here next fall.
Asheville's shops and restaurants are not immune to the surge in COVID cases. News 13's Anjali Patel shows us the closures, both temporary and permanent, and the outlook for the industry heading into the new year.
This New Year's weekend, while some restaurants in Asheville will be busy, others will be bare as the recent COVID surge takes its toll. The week between Christmas and New Year's is typically a big one for Asheville restaurants, a promised propellant heading into January and February, which historically are slower months.
To have a traditionally robust period of time evaporate, it will make for a very lean January and February.
But there's no guarantees in a pandemic. This week, several local restaurants, including Jetty Ray's Oyster House, had to close temporarily due to COVID exposures or cases among staff. Thankfully, Jetty Ray's was able to pull together enough employees to reopen Thursday, just in time for New Year's Eve. Others aren't so fortunate.
Yes, it's a huge sigh of relief for us to be open this evening here.
And COVID isn't just leading to temporary closures ahead of New Year's Eve, but permanent ones, too.
It was tough. It was all the gamut of every emotion you can imagine closing the restaurant.
On Monday, Newton Clark announced he was shutting his beloved Chiesa for good.
I had limited staff, and those poor kids and young adults were working, 70, 80 hours a week. They were, it was brutal.
But to the restaurants that have been able to persist through the pandemic, he's cheering them on.
I think the ones that are still going, keep on going, because we need you.
And despite the challenges this year has brought, many in the industry are optimistic going into 2022.
We've been here before. We've been through worse. We can do this. Yes, we're weary, but we can do this. We know what we're supposed to do.
The obstacles they're facing in the final week of 2021, while inconvenient, are nothing new. And though the uncertainty of COVID remains, restaurant owners believe with the continued support of tourists and locals, 2022 shows promise.
And I'm incredibly optimistic. Asheville is incredibly resilient. We as a community of culinarians are very resilient.
And the Asheville Independent Restaurant Association wants to remind anyone dining out to continue to follow the county's mask mandate and wear a mask.